It's a triple header weekend as trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series all head to Texas Motor Speedway. We give you a betting edge next on the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. All right, welcome into the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. I'm your host for the evening, Seth Woolcock, filling in for Derek Yoder. He's dealing with a little bit of sick kids tonight, so God bless you, Derek. Rest up to the kids and the whole family over there. We're thinking about you, man. Happy to be here with you guys tonight. I'm the founder of In Between Media. We appreciate you guys tuning into the NBPS every week here on our channel. I'm also joined by quite the cast of characters tonight. Full Tank with Phil, aka Phil Eastman. Phil, you were riding high last week on Ty Majeski. You talked me into it. I was certain we were going to cash that outright Friday night, brother. But nonetheless, how are you as we head into Texas and Augusta?
Yeah, well, I had a good Martinsville in the Cups, and you hit me with my weak spot. The trucks didn't go as well last week, but yeah, feeling good, excited, and just happy to be talking bets with you guys here on a Wednesday night. I'm excited for the triple header weekend.
Hell yeah. We also have Mark Harris, Skybox NASCAR, joining us. A lot of love on the internet from this guy for Justin Allgaier. Had a big old ticket for him last week in the Xfinity Series. Mark, how are you doing as we head to what some are calling the worst track in the Cup Series circuit?
There will be no worse track than Martinsville in the Gen 7 car. So I'm actually looking forward to Texas this weekend. Maybe, I don't know. I say this all the time. Maybe Goodyear learned their lesson. Probably not. Allgaier, Gator, really high on him. A little upset about it. I didn't watch the Xfinity or truck race, so I don't have any input. But yeah, we're ready to fire. I was just telling the guys, I have this finishing prop bet that I have tonight I think it's the largest midweek wager I've ever placed in my life. So I'm fired up, and I'm also scared to death at the same time.
I think you put on the internet last week that you had a teacher's salary down on Allgaier. Are we going to see that here on this finishing prop you're going to give us later?
Not quite a third of a teacher's salary, but maybe by a green flag on Sunday. Maybe we'll get to that point.
All right. Well, glad to hear it. We're also joined by Ryan Stevens. He's the CEO of Win the Race and the creator of the True Performance Ranks. Ryan, how are you doing? How are the vibes over at Win the Race as we head into Texas?
Going good, man. Last week was tough, like so close to, I thought Chase might pull through at one point in that race, and Byron just destroyed everyone. But, and it's also tough too when you watch that race at night, like I did. Greg and I tuned in about 8:30, and we're in stage one of that race, and Byron goes, by 6 or 7 guys with ease, and we're like, I can't believe we can't live bet Byron right now. And like that, there's always like one layup during the year. Like I think it was Busher last year, and no one will ever really be at those odds again if they show that kind of speed. I don't think at least anyone will see that this year. But Byron seemed like the layup that we missed. So tough one to tape and watch later. But yeah, like I think Mark said it best. Looking forward to Texas. It can't get any worse than we've seen the last 2 weeks. So let's do it.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who was in that boat last week, Ryan, because I usually start the race maybe like 30 minutes late to the point where I'm caught up by stage number 2. Didn't happen this week. I started a little bit behind that and then never got caught up live. So I also missed the live Byron cash there. But I hope some of our audience members were able to cash in. We got David in the chat. He's ready to make some money this week. What's up, David? Thanks for tuning in, man. We got Kyle. He's showing the $. He's ready. And Brian Twining sharing some not regular Martin Truex Jr. love for him this week. Good to see Brian here. We got the Lane Coyd podcast ready to go as well. We appreciate everyone tuning in here on YouTube. The easiest way to support both the NASCAR Betting Preview Show and IBT Media is to hit that like button, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. Come back, hang out with us here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then you can find the back road here if you need some more NASCAR betting and DFS advice on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time with myself and Elliot and Rod Villa Gomez over there. So, guys, let's go ahead. We're going to start out the night here by doing what Derek usually does and opening up to a little bit of rapid fire. So, Phil, I want to start with you here in rapid fire, my man. Blank will win the Masters this week. Muted, Phil.
God, Phil, 2 weeks in a row, dude.
I think that's the gods telling us not to listen to Phil with Masters bets. I haven't listened to flag hunting yet, so shout out to those boys. But I'm feeling a little sneaky with Joaquin Neiman. I don't know. I gotta give him a look. Yeah, so we'll maybe look at that. Yeah.
Okay. If you guys do need some Masters betting advice, last night, 19th hole here on the IBT YouTube channel, they did a great job of breaking it down. We're taking some of the favorites. We're riding some of the chalk this week with the boys. Mark, what is your favorite betting market that you're targeting as we head into Texas?
It's the top 10 market. That was the easiest answer that I've ever found in my life. And also, I went back and looked because I wanted to see how much, what my bets, the dollar amounts were. In this year in the Cup Series, and like all but 2 of my finishing prop bets on this show have been top 10 bets. So I love the top 10 market. The lines move crazy. They go from incredibly plus money to unbettable after practice and qualifying. So at the top 10 market is I love it, and matchups, but matchups come. I don't bet matchups till about Sunday morning. So
agreed.
Top 10 market.
Okay. Ryan, what does SMI need to do with Texas after Sunday's race?
I mean, has Texas really been? I know 2 years ago we had the tires and everything.
Sure.
They were all popping, blowing up, whatever. I don't mind it. Look at what we just dealt with. I don't know. I mean, do you mean what they should do? I don't know. I mean, they should study what Greg posted earlier about Martinsville races, the best on Gluck's pole versus the worst on Gluck's pole, and then really fix the short track package. But intermediate racing, I don't know, man. I like it. They widen this track. We've seen 7 different winners the last 7 times here. That's all good with me. Well, hopefully we see some good racing, some side by side, some passing, some things like that. We'll see what happens.
All right. Phil, through 8 Cup races, what's been your best betting market week to week throughout all 3 series?
I would say manufacturer bets.
Okay.
Been on a bit of a heater with the manufacturer bets probably since Atlanta. So it's been a good run. And I mean, the wave is high right now, so it's due to crash anytime. Maybe it's this week, but and since I was put on the spot and had to answer, now it's destined to fail. But that's where I've been doing some good work, honestly.
Mark, better finish on Sunday, Ross Chastain or Chris Buescher. Who are you going with there, the 17 or the 1?
He can't hear you, it seems like.
Okay, I'll take that one. I'm on Chastain. I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't bet Chastain yet, but he's like 16-1 hanging out there. I rewatched that race last year, and he just kept kind of getting himself into different shit and just kind of kept plowing through the field. And that's something I really like, is a guy who can make passes even when it's tough to pass here in this package. So I like Chastain over Buescher this week. Mark, just give me a thumbs up in the private chat when you're ready to go, and we'll tag you back in here. Ryan, was Texas the most difficult track for you to handicap this season? Because rewatching last year's race, the year before, we had a lot of tire issues. Last year's race, obviously being a completely different time of year as well, I think really changes things up as well, what the implications were in that race. So for me, I'm really glad I'm here with some of the best handicappers in the industry. Was it difficult for you to handicap this week?
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of like what I was just saying too, that we had 7 different winners the last 7 times here. Even if you take out the race 2 years ago, the tires were failing all the time. We've had, I think, over 10 cautions here, 5 of the last 6 races, excluding that one, of the 7 I talked about with 7 different winners. So yeah, it seems pretty volatile. And I think that's because they, lowered the banking a little bit, widened the track. I think people are going to be a little more aggressive, see more 3, even 4 wide or something. It's, it can happen. So another thing too is like bringing a track like this, some just more, I guess, raw speed comes into play. So if I guess a driver of a lesser talent can get a faster car, they might find themselves in a position they're not normally into and maybe are a little bit uncomfortable. So I think that can increase the volatility as well.
Love it. We got Rye Cape in the chat saying, "What's good? What's good, Rye? Thanks for tuning in, man." And Brian saying, "Texas last season was okay." I guess it was. It's not my favorite track, if I'm being honest with you guys. I've not heard great things about the concourse there as well. Phil, who is a trucker this week that we should be keeping an eye on heading into Friday? And is his name Ty Majeski? You going back to the fucking well, my friend?
Well, I haven't done my truck research yet because our pod got delayed, but Nick Sanchez, how about that? He had it slip through his fingers last year at this track as a rookie. There was no live pit stop, so that kind of changed the race a little bit, if you remember. But he was just like shockingly dominant in that race, and ends up letting it slip through his fingers. So I think he probably has this one circling, honestly, and anxious to see what he's going off at.
Love it. Mark, more of a snooze fest, paint drying or Martinsville Spring 2024?
Well, I would fall asleep during both. I took my first nap of the 2024 season, and I thought I was going to make it to the end, but with about 60 laps to go, the eyes started getting heavy. So honestly, it was terrible. And we usually talk about how, stay green and there's no wrecks, no funny business, and we cash. But that was like beyond the realm of the gambler's dream. It was like so bad that I wasn't having fun gambling on it. I mean, I lost a shitload of money. I wasn't having fun watching it as a fan or a gambler. So honestly, if I had my phone, I'd probably just watch paint dry.
Okay. All right. We got Brian in the chat saying, how about Raja, who's fast in Texas or in Vegas earlier this season? Not a bad play there. We got Big Ross hanging out with us as well. All right, guys, let's go ahead. I guess we have one more here. Phil, Monday morning headline reads blank.
Monday morning headline. Tyler Reddick secures himself into the playoffs championship for contender.
Okay. Some 23-11 love. And Ryan, we'll close it out. Betting blank will win you a lot of money this weekend in matchups.
Chastain over Elliott.
Okay. Do you like matchups with Chastain across the board? Or is it more the fading Elliott part that you'll be doing across different bets?
It's liking Chastain a lot, which I'm glad to hear you do as well. And you'll be hearing me talk about him.
Yeah, let's go. All right, we're going to move into Ride or Fade. This is where the gentlemen give us one of their favorite head-to-heads, and then the rest of the room will say if they're riding with that or they're fading that. Ryan, I'm going to start with you, man. Are you going to go right back to the well with Ross Chastain here?
Yeah, I just teed it up. So Chastain minus 115 over Elliott on DraftKings. There's a lot of stuff to look at here, but like we took, 22 through 24. So Vegas, Kansas, Texas, Charlotte, and then 2024 Vegas as well that we saw earlier this year. There's Chastain's finished inside the top 10, 62% of the time, only 25% of the time for Elliott, with Chastain running over 11% more of his laps inside the top 10 than Elliott is. So he's running up front more often. Then I looked at, what tires are they using? Well, it's last year's Texas and this year's Vegas. And there's only 5 drivers who had a top 10 true performance rank on my site at those 2 races. And it's all the favorites is Larson, Reddick, Hamlin, Byron. And then the 5th one was Chastain. So there was just a lot I liked about Chastain. I like everything you said earlier too. Finished second last year in this race. And like you said, he was plowing through the field. I like him on a track like this. So, yeah, give me Chastain over Elliott. Elliott hasn't shown much in this package, and Chastain was better at Vegas too, if we're just looking at this year. One race sample, but still, it's the only thing we have from this season. So, yeah, give me Chastain.
Mark, you riding with the Melon Man, or are you fading that?
I am riding. with Ross Chastain. He's got Elliott covered on comps and at Texas in a few key metrics, average running position, the NLD power rankings. I trust Ryan's true performance ranks, pre-practice and qualifying. I mean, it's not by much in my book, but in the few key factors, like if I had to nail down 3 factors, those would be it. And Chastain's got Chase covered in all of them. So I'll ride with your boy.
Phil, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm interested in Chastain in a few different ways this weekend as well. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I'll let Ryan kind of ride that one because he's smarter than me. I ride with this. I think if you wanted to play the other side, and if you wanted to say, well, there's a case to be made about Elliott, it's not anything to do with like metrics or the numbers staring in the face, because Chastain has him covered. The only reason you'd be considering Elliott is because you're saying, right now in this season with the momentum that they're building, it just seems like that 9 car is starting to come together a little bit. To me, that's not enough to take Elliott in that matchup. I like what I'm seeing on paper for Texas and these comp tracks for Chastain in a number of different ways this week.
Love it. Love it. Hopefully it comes through for you, Ryan. Last week I tried to fade Elliott against Chase Briscoe. Didn't get quite the result I want. Yeah, didn't get quite the result I wanted. I tried to get a little frisky early in the week. Mark, what is one head-to-head that you're buying as we head to Texas?
So I came on the show last week, actually, and I also clipped it, screen recorded it, and posted it on Twitter about, all the comments about people going, oh, well, I can't find anything. The odds are shit. This is a terrible week. And I think that's a BS excuse. Just keep digging. That's, if one market, the outright market, you're like, oh, odds are shit. Okay, you're going to find a bet somewhere. Well, I struggled mightily finding a matchup that I really, really liked. DraftKings, for example. The closest matchup that they're offering is -150 plus 115 between teammates and Byron and Larson. NASCAR partner, give me a break. So those are unbettable unless you want to parlay all the underdogs and hope it's a shit show and you get a big. I mean, that's ridiculous. And then some of the other books like Bet365 had a ton of offerings, but they were either teammates, which I always avoid, or just. Well, anyway, okay, I'll shut up. I found a matchup. I have yet to bet it, but it's William Byron -110 over Ryan Blaney on Bet365. And I'm looking at 8 comp track races this week, 2 at Texas, Kansas, and Vegas, and then the Coke 600, and then Nashville. Now, don't ask me why. This is Zach's doing. I don't ask questions. He gives me the information, and then I run with it. Well, we're taking Byron. And I have not bet this. I don't know if I've said that yet, but I have not bet this.
You know who won Nashville, right?
Ross Chastain. Yes, sir. Yeah, I meant to say that, and I dropped the ball. I might bet this after practice and qualifying because Ford, Penske, they're known to be just a little questionable sometimes. We think they're going to be good, and then next thing we know, Blaney and Logano are 25th on speed. If we look at some stats, power rankings, NLD power rankings, Byron 4th, Blaney 7th, not necessarily enough to bet it. Average running position over the 8 comp races, Byron 9.3, Blaney 11th. Average finish over the 8 comps, this is where it gets frisky. Byron is first in the Cup Series with a 5.8 average finish. That's absurd. Blaney with a couple DNFs is 14.7. So there's your biggest difference, in my opinion. Byron runs up front and finishes races, and Blaney could be all over the board. Yes, we saw him go out and dominate the Coke 600 last year and just run away with it. And we've also seen Byron do that a hell of a lot more than Ryan Blaney. So I think -110 is a great number because of the fact that we know what we're going to get from Byron. We know what we're going to get from Hendrick and probably Larson too. We probably know what we're going to get from Blaney and Penske, but once again, there's that little doubt in the devil and the angel. The little devil's on my shoulder going, but what if he's a 20th place car, So I think Byron's a surefire bet here. Well, not surefire, but I do like Byron in this matchup. One more stat for you. In the NLD speed, so Zach averages all the 8 comps at NLD speed. Byron is 5th and Blaney is 12th. So just more of a bigger picture, broader picture here. I just think Byron is probably 5 to 7 spots better than Blaney when he's on. If Byron's a 5th place car and Blaney's a 6th, 7th place car, maybe even top 3 car, then I'd be worried. And that's why I haven't bet this. But we'll see how practice and qualifying goes. And if, obviously this number is going to be gone in, if Blaney's that 25th place car, but it's tough to see William Byron against anybody, maybe against Larson at -110 and not like it. So give me William Byron over Ryan Blaney.
Phil, you drinking the Hendrick Kool-Aid with Mark this week?
Well, my mind's kind of spinning here because I do like Chevy this week, but for kind of like a collective reason when we're talking about that kind of a camp. But when I'm looking at Ford, to me, it's like Blaney or bust, and I could see getting down with Blaney's like outright number in case he catches lightning in a bottle. The last 7 at Texas, he's first in driver rating. So there's something to it, but I guess in reality, I would probably say no bet on this one because I do believe in Blaney a little bit more than what Mark just described. But if you're forcing him to choose, I mean, Byron, looking at the stuff that I have written down, Byron is ahead of Blaney on almost every stat that I have written down. So I will roll with, riding here with Mark, but I find it a little tougher to bet that one.
Ryan, how you feeling about it?
Yeah, I would have to. I'm glad I don't have 365, so I don't have to bet this. But I'd be on the Byron side. So I mean, just looking at like comp tracks, last year in this package, I have Byron much higher. You look at like spike weeks too. So if you're trying to win a matchup, I have him with a true performance rank in 9 of the 16 races in this package last year, where Blaney only had 4 times out of the 16 races. So if you're looking for a matchup and someone to spike it, then I would say it's Byron. And also too, just think of like mistake-free races, which is probably why we do see Byron up near the top most of the time. It's not only him, but it's his pit crew too. Like they're always rock solid. So if there's ever and his strategy. So between pit crew and strategy is kind of all the same team game. That team is playing great games all the time. So yeah, I'd go with Byron.
Rudy Fugle, man. He is just dialing it up. He has a hot hand right now. So I like that analysis there from Ryan. Phil, what is your matchup for us to ride or fade this week?
Yeah, I like a few matchups this week, honestly. But the one I'm going to talk about right now to see what these guys think, it is an even -115 a piece. So I'm anxious to hear what the fellas think on this one. And doing a lot of talk about Chastain, but his teammate kind of jumped off the page to me in this matchup that we have available on Caesars. It's Suarez over Eric Jones. And Jones, if you look at Jones at Texas, but the thing I like about this bet is they both, experienced, both of them, change of rides over the last 7 years at Texas, right? And so that you can kind of say that's a little bit more like apples to apples, whereas, you have some drivers who have been in the same car forever and new guys and new faces, new rides. Jones has decent numbers at Texas, 1 top 5, 4 top 10s over the last 7.
A lot of people know that too. There's a lot of love on Twitter for Eric Jones this week.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah,
well, I'm gonna put a wet blanket
on
this. I'm gonna put a wet blanket on this
Do
because Suarez has better numbers at Texas in that same time span. He's got 2 top 5s, a better average finish, 12.3 to 12.7. Like they're like pretty even at Texas. So then I'm looking, all right, what's a direct like apples to apples here? Looking at the last 7 comps, I think Ryan called out exactly the 7 tracks that I'm looking at. Basically all the comps since 2023 started, so including Vegas this year. And total speed, they're like kind of right next to each other. Other than that, it's all Daniel Suarez. Suarez is 10th in NASCAR in average finish in this time frame on these comps. 5 top 15, 6 top 20s in 7 races. Again, lowering the bar a little bit for these guys who are more towards the back. Jones has a 3rd place finish, and then that's pretty much it. He is 6-1 against Jones head to head in these last 7 races on Kansas, Charlotte, Charlotte, Vegas, and Texas. and I guess is Kansas the other one? I'm losing
Yeah.
my train
Yeah,
of thought
for sure.
here.
Yep.
Gotta be.
So 6-1 for Suarez in this matchup. The fact that they're even, I'm like, what's going on here? What am I missing? And I just think the equipment's better. You talk about Chastain and Trackhouse as a team, they're better than what we're seeing with Legacy. I mean, I don't know what they have going on at Legacy. So I'm rolling with Suarez here, -115. I think this is a really solid victory here for the 99.
Ryan, can you ride that or are you fading it?
Oh man, this one's tough because I like rooting for Jones. I mean, but it's not about what I want to root for. If I were to look at numbers, and sorry if I keep coughing into this, I got a little cold thing going on, but if I look at the numbers, even from last year, where Jones really wasn't strong until the end of the year, if I do just look at those comp tracks and look at their true performance in them, I have Jones just squeaking it out. And then in my, pre-practice and qualifying ranks, which take a lot into consideration every single week on Win the Race, I have Jones just ahead of Suarez as well, 2 spots ahead here. So I'm going to have to go with Jones and just trust my numbers, but I understand everything that Phil said. It all makes sense. It's one that I won't bet because of that. But if I had to pick one, I would have to pick Jones and just trust all the work that I've done. So I could see both sides.
Yeah, actually, Eric Jones, number 8 overall in the NASCAR Next Gen Total Speed rankings from our friends over there at iFantasyRace.com as well. So a lot of love for Eric Jones. Mark, do you have that love as well?
I'm usually the guy that, like, when everyone's on a bet, I'm on the opposite side of the bet. Like, that goes for all sports, not necessarily NASCAR, but like
Sure.
football, y'all can have it. I'm going the other way. This is definitely one of those cases. Phil made me like Suarez a little more. I was very lukewarm. I think he's going to be
Agreed.
like a low teens, mid teens kind of guy this week. But, Phil said it. I don't know if he meant what he said, but like, he doesn't know what's going on at Legacy Motor Club. I don't think they do. Like, they could run 10th. They could run literally 30th.
That's a good point.
And it's kind of what I was talking about with Blaney. Like, yeah, there's probably an 80% chance that Blaney's going to be pretty damn good. There's probably less than 50% chance that Eric Jones is going to be good. So, we've seen we were just talking about his teammate Chastain. I know there's been a lot of teammate equipment talk, and I think that's what you got to, when you go down the board, you got to start looking at that kind of stuff. So, and then the odds. Yeah, I'm using the eye test. Ryan's using the numbers test. So we'll see who comes out on the other end. Like, give me Suarez.
I was just about to say, my eyes are telling me bet Daniel Suarez in this bet. The numbers are telling me Eric Jones. So
let me add something here.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson's in this race for Legacy. I am looking at this and thinking that this detracts from Legacy. I understand like why you can make the case like, well, Jimmy Johnson, he's going to share his wealth of knowledge and he's great at Texas and blah, blah. He's been a distraction and he stinks in this 84 car. So I feel like that takes away from anything that Jones and John Hunter can put together. But I guess we'll see. I mean, if he's going anywhere, Texas would probably be his track. So, but I'm using that as a detraction for Legacy instead of a positive thing.
I was just thinking how he ran when he was a top 10 machine here with JGR, but that's JGR. But now he's getting the TRD love again. So I don't know, and it's like this race last year too was after it was announced they were switching to Toyota. And I don't know why they were good after that. Like, why were they good after that? It was very weird. But I don't know. I could see both sides. Like I said, it's a very interesting one. Maybe one that we bet some beers over or something instead.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Brian in the chat saying he feels like matchups have kind of become post-qualifying exclusive for him, with placements offering the best pre-qualifying value.
Don't disagree.
I'm with Brian. I think honestly, like I've been hammering the placement props earlier in the week and then kind of letting it roll until after to get into a lot of my head-to-heads. But there are sharp bettors out there like you guys a lot of time who are able to come here each and every Wednesday and provide us with some head-to-heads. So we greatly appreciate it. We got Greg in the chat saying, y'all heard it. Ryan is glad he doesn't have 365. I'll hear no more complaints about 365 odds. Wow, it's gotten really loud around this certain sports book this season, man. They're taking shrapnel right now, Ryan. Bets 365 here.
I like that from Greg. I like what Mark said earlier too, because one week he called me out and I was like, "These books are trash," and he's like, "Shut the fuck up and make a bet." It's like, all right, sometimes you just need that to get
Yeah.
that motivation going.
Well, I feel like sometimes we get in this we come off a bad week, which I just did, a terrible week. You come off a bad week and you're like a little, you don't want to click the enter button. You're like, let me delete a 0 from that one. It's like, I feel it. And sometimes you just need a little motivation. Be like, put your big fucking britches on, play some bets. Come on, that's what we're here to do.
Scared money don't make money.
Damn right, baby.
Greg also saying that he got on a placement prop Zane Smith top 10, 35-1. I don't know, boys. Zane Smith, I've seen a lot of numbers on him this week. He's probably the worst running full-time cup car this week. Would you be hopping on that, Phil, at that price?
I mean, yeah, it's the price that's right there. I mean, 35-1. That's interesting for Zane. I mean, I think Daniel Hemrick is the worst full-time running Cup Series driver.
Hemrick, I played him in some fantasy lineups last week as like a dart throw, and he got it done for me last week. I appreciate Hemrick. Easy there, Phil.
So you appreciate slowness. That's fun.
All right, guys, let's move into the position props here. Phil, start us out, man. Where are we going with position props this week?
Yeah, so my mind immediately went to, and I'm trying to pull it up now, but I want to talk about Bubba Wallace. And I got the Caesars over under bet on him at over under. I took him under 12.5. And he was minus 140 at that point in the week.
Okay.
DraftKings was the only one that had top 10. DraftKings had him top 10 at minus 175 at that moment. Now, here's the thing. Before I go off on my tangent about why I like Bubba, I'm trying to pull up Action Network here with the kind of updated odds for the top 10s.
Yeah, I see him minus 120.
Minus one
right now.
Yeah, minus 120 is okay. So that's not too bad. Bubba, I would take that, right? So since the over-under is off the board right now for Caesars, keep your eyes peeled, see if that comes back. Maybe you get him at 11.5 under that to get a spot. But Wallace has my attention. I mean, we're talking about Reddick a little bit, or we mentioned him. At least I did.
Sure.
And I saw somebody in the chat say 23-11 this week. This is a big deal. I mean, rewatching that race from last year, this was his race, man. He led 111 laps. Like, just really interesting, because going into that race, he had really struggled at Texas and his finishes were not good. But yet his career progression on mile and a half, by the time he got to Texas last year, I think all in this gambling community expect Bubba to do well on mile and a half. Like, by the time he got to Texas last fall, there's no secret anymore. We all know what we're talking about when we say mile and a half. Bubba Wallace. Like, yeah, it's not a shock to the system anymore. So top 10, he almost won that damn race last year. I think that what we're seeing out of him, what we're seeing of that team, they know how to set up the cars for these styles of racetracks. Last 7 comp tracks, he starts, really well. So that's something that helps us here getting into this bet earlier in the week, because if he's starting, really towards the front, that number is going to go in a direction we don't want it to go. But 4 top 5s and 5 top 15s. His average finish is 9th, driver ratings 9th, his total speed's 9th. So he's really putting you in position here for a top 10 bet, if that's the bet that you have available to you. Some might like a top 5 number if they like more of the gambler's odds. I'm
sure
more conservative. I like having the opportunity to fail a little bit there and get those extra spots. So I got him under 12.5, but I would still take him at this point in the week, top 10.
I love it, Phil. Bubba Wallace finally kind of getting it together a little bit last week. He's had great runs. He just hasn't got the finishes because one thing or another happens, whether that's on the track or whether that's just the pit crew screwing up or, a tight lug nut they can't get off. something has always plagued that number 23 car. They're starting to get together. I like him a lot here coming to Texas, a race he almost won last season. Ryan, where are you heading with your placement prop of the week?
All right, so I don't have a lot of hard hitting analysis on this one. It was just really a nice number play. So Austin Dillon, Mr. 83,
You
12 to
sicko.
1, top 10. I am a sick bastard. He's down to 10 to 1 now, I think, which I would still take. Um Strictly a value sprinkle, quarter unit, something like that on this thing. 12 to 1 was implied, 7.69% of the time. He's hit this over 10% of the time. It's only 2 out of his 19 tries here, but both those top 10s came in the last 8 races. So it is more of like a recency thing. Obviously took, all-star runs out of the equation when I ranked him out and looked at everything here. But he's always kind of just floating around there. Like in those 8 races that he's finished 7 of them. He's finished 17, 14, 19, 11, 1, 13, 14, 10. And I don't care about the stupid win. I just know that he's always floating around the top 10. So 12 to 1 just seemed to make sense. He does it at times you don't really expect it to. Last year in this package, he had top 10s at Kansas, Charlotte, and Homestead. And so I don't know. I mean, he can do it. So for a quarter unit, I don't mind sprinkling on this. And still 10 to 1. I'd take it probably down to 8 or 9 to 1. But the 10 I think is available at ESPN still. So
Austin
yeah.
Dillon's had some like pretty strong runs at Texas. Hasn't always got the finishes as of late, but I was surprised when I was watching back the next gen era of Texas races this week, how far up Austin Dillon was a lot of these races. Like he was running top 5. I can't remember if that was last year or the year before. I remember it was in that nice green car. Tino in the chat saying, no, please don't say that name. Yeah, it's a tough name for sure. But I mean, 12 to 1 at a guy who likes this track, and he hasn't done it yet this season. So maybe he can get in the top 10, break the curse a little bit. Mark, where are you going with your placement prop? And is this your favorite bet of the week that you said you absolutely hammered it?
Favorite bet of the week, most amount of money ever placed on a midweek bet, which is I'm really fired up about. I'm also very terrified. So before I start, and I make my notes the night before. So if the lines move, you're shit out of luck. Sorry, I got a job. But the good news for you guys is this bet is available on Caesars. So whenever I say bet 365, just insert Caesars right there, okay? Because it's still available. So we're going Mr. Brad Keselowski, top 10 plus 140 on Caesar Sportsbooks. Yeah, I remember that time. And just go ahead and insert the oh shit, here we go again meme, because this now marks the 3rd time that I bet Brad for a top 10 on this show this year. We're 1-1, so it makes me feel a little bit better. But this is the most confident one, definitely the most confident plus money top 10 bet that I've felt in a long, long time. Now, let's start with the power rankings. Brad is 10th, which historically he doesn't show up in the power rankings early in the week. I don't know what it is. I don't know if Zach hates him. I don't know if the formula hates him. I don't really know, but he could be like 4th in NLD speed at that track, like 6th in average running position, and he'll be like 14th in the power rankings. I'm like, Zach, he's like, I don't know, man. I just, the numbers spit out. I'm like, okay. So he's in the top 10. That makes me feel good. Like that makes me feel really good about Brad Keselowski. He's 4th in NLD speed over the last 2 Texas races, and he's 10th when you bring in all 8 races. He's got the 7th best average running position in the Cup Series over those 8 comps with a 12.1, and an average running position of 12.1 is good enough for me to bet plus 140 for a top 10. He's also 4th. This is my favorite stat of the week. 4th in the Cup Series with an average finish of 11th at the 8 comps. 4th in the Cup Series. No one's talking about, we're all talking about Denny and Byron and Larson, and the next guy is Brad Keselowski. He finishes these races. Yes, he hasn't won. He's not going to finish 2nd, 3rd. He's Mr. Consistent at 1.5 miles. So not only has he finished in the top 10 at at both Gen 7 races at Texas, he also has one hell of a top 10 streak going on at Texas that dates back to 2020. That's 7 races. It feels like that would be longer ago than 2020, but 7 races in a row, Brad Keselowski has finished in the top 10. That's with 2 Gen 7 cars. He's also, the last 2 years, the 8 comps, he's hitting at a 50% rate. 4 out of 8 races he's finished in the top 10. Ryan, you're going to have to tell me what the 50% hit rate at plus 140 is, whatever the probability of that hitting. I don't fucking care. I know that it's a good bet. Okay. Plus 140, 50%. Sign me up. I know blackjack 47.6, whatever the hell the number is. I'll take it. So this is another one of those that I firmly believe will not be available Sunday morning, post-practice qualifying. Plus 140 is absolutely not going to be available. I can promise you that. Now, it opened at Hard Rock today at like minus 110, some bullshit, and then it came back up. I think it's at plus 120 now. I'm probably going to hit it again, right? I'm probably going to hit it at even money. If it's even money minus 110, I'm probably going to hit it again after practice and qualifying. So I love me some Brad Keselowski top 10 at plus 140. That's available on Caesars. Also, a little honorable mention here. Caesars also has a William Byron and Denny Hamlin both to finish in the top 10 at plus 105. That's a fun bet. Anything plus money there, I think is juicy. So, yeah, Brad Keselowski.
All right. Greg in the chat saying, I'm in on it too, and I love it, but also no one has lost me more money than Brad Keselowski this season. I'll be honest, boys. I don't know if I've bet Brad Keselowski one time this week or this season, maybe in a matchup. Like I don't think I've really paid much attention to him. Thankfully, Matt in the chat saying he likes Brad Keselowski as well. Like him for a unit outright as well. So Matt getting dangerous there. Brian likes the 17 over the 6 this week, and Big Ross saying this will 100% be gone. Love it, man. And we got Didi hanging out with us tonight. What's up, Didi? Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate you as always over here at IBT. Guys, let's go ahead and did everyone Phil? I think we have one more position prop from Phil, right?
I think it's Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
No, I did. We did all those. I think we're on the winners.
Okay.
All right. Suspended guy.
All right.
That's right.
There we go. All right, let's go to outrights, guys. What are we seeing across the boards? I mean, there's a lot of juice coming in right now on Kyle Larson. I couldn't believe to see what he opened at this week, and it's just continuing to get bet down. Are we riding the juice there? Are we riding the juice somewhere else, Phil? Where are we going here in the outright market?
So the way I've been playing when I put the podcast together, the way I've been doing this each week, and it's been working out, is I think about the manufacturer bet that I want to play, and like that's my kind of foundation. And this week I am playing Chevy because you got Kyle, like you said, because of all the reasons, we don't have to get into. But I feel like if it's going to come from Chevy, it could come from any different direction. We mentioned Chastain, we got Byron. I don't know who to throw the unit on, so I'd rather just take the whole camp. So if it's not Chevy, the play that I'll call out right now is Tyler Reddick at 7-1 on MGM. We talked about Bubba, talked about 23XI really performing well on these mile and a halves. And the storyline that I have with Reddick right now is like we've seen so far this year, guys struggle a little bit, get to tracks that they are historically good at, and perform well at those tracks. And Logano, it was Blaney. And what I liked actually was Reddick. I was on the over 9.5 for him last week because he's been not good at Martinsville, and he fought and clawed and ends up sneaking me and finishes inside the top 10. And I missed that bet. That's a track that he hasn't been historically good at. I think that sets up great moving into Texas, a place that he has been very good, has a victory when he was with RCR. And it's not just Texas, but I mean, look at that 2022 victory, led 70 laps. That was the most. He was a non-playoff driver in that time. He's got 5 races at this track, 1 win, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. He's second in average finish in the last 7 races there, 6 in driver rating. Then all the comp tracks since 2023, he's third in average finish, 9.3, 1 win, 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s out of 7 races. So he's just solid. Ryan's site has him win the race, has him at 5th on their pre-qualifying ranks. And last year he gets shuffled back to 25th, but he was up there. He was fighting. Stage wins, 36 laps led. So second at Vegas this year. Remember, he was hunting down Kyle Larson at the end of that Vegas race. He was really fast at Vegas. This is a driver at 7-1. I think you have to have Reddick in some way, shape, or form. So I'll take him as a bullet from the Toyota camp that would upset the manufacturer pick for Chevy.
Taking a shot on Tyler Reddick, full tank with Phil, Lana in the chat, and also Stan saying, "What's up? Good to see you guys." These are some of our backroad faithfuls. We appreciate them tuning into the NBPS this week as well. Ryan, where are we heading for you with placement props, man? Or excuse me, outrights.
I'll do Ross Chastain 16-1.
Giddy up.
For everything we talked about earlier. I mentioned the drivers, with a top 10 true performance rank on the tracks where we use this tire code, last year's Texas, this year's Vegas. All those guys are favorites. They're 4-1, 6-1, 7-1, 7-1. And then Chastain is the fifth one, and he's 16-1. Looking even further than just that two-race sample size, you look at the whole intermediate package sample size from last year, and when you're trying to pick a winner, like you obviously want the guys who pop and have those performances that are better than everyone, every now and then. Chastain had a top 3 true performance in 4 out of the 16 races, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the only drivers that had top 3 true performance in more or equal to those 4 were Hamlin, Larson, Byron, and Truex, and Reddick was just behind him with 3. So it's all these guys that we're naming that are these 4 through 7-1 guys, and then Chastain just hanging there doing the same shit they're doing, but he's hanging out 16-1. So the other thing too, where 16-1 caught my eye, is because I don't think it'll be around. He did qualify like shit at Vegas, so maybe he's not going to qualify as well. We'll see what happens. But if we take last year's qualifying, just larger sample size, he made the final round in 12 out of 13 races they qualified in the intermediate package. And he only missed at Pocono, Darlington, and Bristol. So nothing like this in my eyes. So I think he could qualify well, and then the 16-1's gone, if he does show that speed. So, yeah, give me Chastain 16-1.
Taking the Busch Light car. Gotta love it, man. Mark, where do you go from an outright perspective?
I love Busch Light.
Yes, sir.
I don't usually dip into this kind of dangerous, risque business this early in the week, but the numbers are talking to your boy on old Dennis fucking Hamlin 7-1. Let me tell you something about it. All right. Based on what Mr. Highline Betting has put together for me, Hamlin should be the Larson number. He should be 4-1 like he was last week at Martinsville. And that number was warranted for like 80% of that race. What was he doing at the pits, the pit call at the end? I have no idea. I didn't watch it. I was sleeping. So Hamlin is not only at the top of the NLD power rankings, but the metric score is entering Larson territory. It's 1.30. Now that's some scary shit, the way Hamlin has been running. I mean, that's like the good kind of scary. That's like lead 180 laps on Sunday kind of scary. That's like the 35% yes Gluck poll that we just saw at Martinsville kind of scary. But Denny Hamlin is going to show up this week. And if you're wondering what else he's first in when it comes to stats and speeds and whatever the fuck else makes sense this week, NLD speed at both Texas races, first. NLD speed at all 8 comp track races, first. He's second in average running position, second person rating, second in laps led, third in average finish, third in fast laps ran. I don't know if fast laps actually counts. That'll be a DFS question.
Yeah.
But this cat's going to be all over the front of this field on Sunday. And I'm not about to miss out on 7-1 and kick myself because he's sitting on the pole and is now 4-1 with the fastest 15 lap average in practice. So I'm all in. I'm DH11, Dennis fucking Hamlin. He was spitting fire for like 37 minutes on his podcast this week. So I'm all over 7-1 Denny Hamlin this week.
One thing about everyone we mentioned too is that they're all odd numbers, and odds minus 165. When it opened, it was like minus 130, minus 140. I really wish I got that then, but still at minus 165. Our Sims right now have it fair at minus 155, so it's close. But that's also too, like, our Sims don't say there's value on Chastain 16-1, but I personally think there is. So if you want to just take all the odd numbers, minus 165, don't mind paying a little bit of juice. You get Reddick, Bubba, Chastain, Larson, Elliott, Hamlin, Truex. Keep going. So yeah,
Who's going to beat you? Who's going to beat you? Blaney, Logano.
Byron, like he always
Byron.
fucking does.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah,
True.
yeah.
True.
We got Tino in the chat saying SMI revenge for Denny Hamlin too. Yeah, he's definitely motivated heading to old Marcus Smith's gem of a project down there in the great state. And Mark, I'm really glad you went to sleep when Denny Hamlin made that pit stop, because I was screaming my fucking head off, because not only did I have the outright on Hamlin, I had a minus 125 top 5 that I was just praying to the gods. Nothing crazy would happen. Like, I would at least get out of the weekend positive if that hit. It did not. So
Pain.
yeah, should have been sleeping with you. Greg, this is probably the comment of the year. Greg saying SMI gonna shoot out his tire if he gets the lead. I wouldn't be surprised. Definitely some shady shit potentially going down there. Potentially, was that the best Twitter beef you guys have ever seen in the NASCAR industry? You guys, Phil, you've been doing this for a long fucking time, man. Was that the best thing you've ever seen?
It was good. It was good. I mean, you just love to see like when guys just don't care.
Yeah.
And you identified like pretty quickly, like, because it happened like after midnight too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you're kind of just like, what? Like, he's serious. Like you have to kind of adjust. Like, is this a troll job or whatever? And then when you realize like they were actually at it, man, that was satisfying.
I don't know if it was like the best or biggest beef that we've ever had on Twitter, but it was probably the most high stakes beef we've ever had on Twitter between those two guys. So, I mean, that shit just doesn't happen. Like in other sports, like that ain't happening. Like that's
exactly
nuts if you think about it.
Yeah. You call out somebody like that in another sport,
watch your head, buddy.
Yeah, you're getting a talking to.
I love promoted. I love the personal shots too. I love the championship and blowing your daddy's money and and taking his business in the ground. So I'm all about it. Love the comment there from Greg. Guys, let's go into best values here. Mark, what is something that you found this week that you're just like, man, like that's a value early in the week. Like I should be down on that pre-practice and qualifying, might not be around later in the week.
Breaking news. Brad Keselowski scores top 10 plus 140 at Texas this weekend. That's all I got. I looked for some funkiness. I have a few, Cup outright, Masters outright parlays. I thought about talking about one of those, but got Brad. And I don't know why I'm so fixated on Keselowski, but I'm all in on Brad Keselowski top 10.
Can I go next, Seth? Because I'll piggyback off this. Because we talk about Brad, and it seemed like a lot of people in the chat were into Brad as well. So he's plus 140, plus 120, whatever number you're getting him at. Caesars has him in a bet head to head. So you just got to beat one guy. Plus 100. He is the underdog against Alex Bowman. And I
shouldn't have told me that.
For one, am all in on Brad. I don't understand how he is the underdog in this matchup. Mark did a great job laying out the stats for Keselowski, but let me just take that and put it in the context of this matchup here, because to me, I don't understand. Last 7 races at Texas, Brad has a better average finish, a better driver rating in the next gen car at Texas. 2 for 2 top 10s for Keselowski, 0 for 2 for Byron. In the last 7 comp tracks, better average finish, better driver rating, 5 straight top 10s at Texas, like we talked about, and that was through different teams. 3-1 head-to-head in the last 4 races at Texas in favor of Keselowski. He beat him at Vegas 13-18 earlier in the season. 7 for 7 in these comp tracks since 2023 and finishing in top 20. Bowman can't say that. So it's like, what is Brad going to finish, right? It seems like top 10. Let's call it 9th. Do you think Bowman's going to beat 9th? At plus 100? I mean, maybe he does, because maybe Hendrick, brings it, and you never know with him. He's sneaky, he comes out of the woodwork. But at plus 100, just to beat one driver who hasn't really had a history of being able to do it, and when every single stat has Keselowski as better, I'm rolling with this at plus 100. I think that's good value. So I typically don't give a good answer to the best value on this show, but I feel like this is a good answer.
That might be the fucking hammer of the week. I'm not going to lie, Phil. Woo! Even looking at iFantasy Race's next gen speed rankings at Texas, just to kind of put this into perspective, Brad Keselowski tied for 6th, Alex Bowman 24th. Like that is a huge, like that is a really big disparity that I think you need to get down on. So Phil, I'm going to say right now, I'll be tailing that one. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Ryan, where are you going here? Best value, man. And any thoughts on that one as well? Any thoughts on what your tools tell us? Like, is that a fair bet by your measures as well?
Yeah, what's funny is, well, so Phil starts going in too. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna pull up some shit and let's just start talking about Brad K even more. So
Oh, geez.
yeah, in
Sir,
my pre-practice and qualifying ranks, I have Brad top 10 as well. I have him eighth. So I know, like Mark said, he loves to see that when Zach has it, top 10 to start the week as well. Because I agree, he's like one of those guys where he's just there at the end. Like he might not rank out well early in the week, but he's just smart. They have a good game plan. He finishes well, which I think, and I'll double check, but I think he did that at Vegas earlier this year. Yeah, I had him 22nd best true performance, finished 13th. So that's just how he rolls. But if we look at last year in the intermediate package, I think a lot of people would just kind of think Brad like wasn't that good. But really, when you look at it a little deeper, of the 16 races, he had 10 top 10 true performances in those races. The only guys who did it more than him are Hamlin, Larson, Truex, Chastain, and Byron. So all of the favorites to win the race, and he's plus 140 for a top 10. Yeah, I don't get it. So, and then you look at, I'll take it even one step further. Look at Roush Fenway's history on this track type. You got to dive a little deep for this one. But their best tracks are Michigan, which we saw Buescher win at.
Yep.
Was it Truex chasing down Buescher? Yeah, Buescher won that.
Yeah.
So that's similar enough to this. Their next best track with a large sample size, Vegas, simple, similar enough to this. Then a couple different tracks, and then it's Texas. So, getting Brad, who was already good here on the team, just seems to be helping. They also qualified really well here. So, yeah, I don't know. I love it, man. I'm with it. I think I didn't have a best value. I texted the group earlier. So if that's going to be our best value, let's fucking rock out as a team.
All right. The Brad Keselowski segment comes to an end there. Brian saying that he likes Byron possibly this weekend as well. Perhaps the second best car in this package at Vegas, the trash bag and the Coors Light hit him. Yeah, that I wasn't on Byron that day, but I've been on him plenty of other times this year when he's let me down. But I think he has a little bit of value here in a couple different markets as well, Ryan. A couple of our sponsors I want to shout out tonight. Driven Sunglasses. You can use the promo code FS20 for 20% off. I haven't got these sunglasses. Derek hasn't hooked me up yet, but he looks cool as fuck every time he's wearing them. Derek and I live in the same town, and I know one day I'm just gonna see him like out and about ripping these sunglasses, and all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go up, take them right off his face. I'm just running. I think I can get Derek in a 100-meter sprint. What do you think, Mark? You think I'm outrunning Derek? I think Derek's probably close off the line, but I think if I give him first 100, I'm gone.
Derek's got legs, but I know who you are outrunning, and that's the two guys on this side of the screen and the guy right above me. We stand no chance.
Mark, you're a college football tight end, my friend.
But who cares? I haven't ran a 40-yard dash in 8 years.
I'm more flexible than fast.
I can touch my toes. Does that count?
Phil, over under for Mark's 40-yard dash line. What are you setting it at?
Oh, be careful here, buddy.
Over under.
Last one? Wait, is it the last one I ran or like what I would run going forward?
Best ever. What would you say? Best ever.
Best ever. Under? I'm gonna say best ever. I'm gonna say 5-0.
Very close. 495 lasered.
I was gonna say 4.9. I wanted to give you credit, but I was like, we'll see.
Lasered.
All right, good. I know my boy. He's got some legs.
There we go.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, Seth. You do that,
yeah,
and take them from it. Derek's not even gonna chase you. You know why? Because he's got this promo code of Driven Sunglasses. Goes right back in the house, buys another one.
Yes. Shout out Driven. We appreciate them. And also shout out Drink Victory. Another thing that I haven't tried that is a sponsor of this program, but Derek tells me it's awesome. I'm going to see him in a couple weeks, hopefully here. We were supposed to go sweat out the truck race Friday night. I'm not sure if we're still doing that with the sick kid or not, but either way, I'm going to have to get on some Victory because I want to get caffeine in my life, boys. I don't drink any caffeine. I don't know about you guys, but I don't drink coffee. I've tried regular energy drinks, just make my heart beat a little too quick. So I'm excited to try a little Victory Fuel over there. You can use the promo code there, a front stretch. Get a case today, guys. Try it out. All right, and let's go ahead and we're going to shift into our DK features to round out the night here. And if you guys also have any questions in the chat that we can help you with, we're happy to do that in the listener Q&A to round out the show here. But the purpose of this segment is I'm going to give 3 matchups out that I saw over at DraftKings, our partner here at In Between Media. We greatly appreciate them partnering up with us here. And Phil, Mark, and Ryan are going to tell us what side they're on of all 3 of these matchups real quick. And have we released a punishment for this? I know Derek was sending some ideas in the group chat, and I don't know if we ever landed anything. Is there a punishment for who gets last for this?
Not yet. I put it in his head that we should be rewarding the winners instead of punishing the losers. But so we're kind of going back and forth on that one. But
we should do both, actually.
Yeah.
Brian saying, when are we having a NASCAR betting preview show race meetup? Hey, it's up to something season right now. I've been talking to Derek about it. We're getting something in the cards, Brian. So don't worry, man. If you can catch a flight out here to Pennsylvania, we'll certainly hang out here eventually. Okay, first match of the week. I'm gonna fill in for Derek as well without telling him. But I'm gonna put my picks down as well. So Ross Chastain versus Chase Elliott. And then Tyler Reddick versus Bubba Wallace, Martin Truex Jr. versus Christopher Bell. I bring up the Bubba Wallace one specifically. Bubba Wallace is plus 135. Tyler Reddick's minus 185. I know there's been a lot of Reddick love on this program tonight. Bubba Wallace was fucking fast last year at this track. I think that's a little bit of a misprice. The rest of these are pretty closely priced up against each other. Ross and Elliott both minus 115, Truex minus 120, Bell minus 110. Ryan, where are you going here with Ross versus Chase, Tyler Reddick versus Bubba, and Martin Truex versus Christopher Bell? A lot of teammate matchups here.
Yeah, I already took Chastain. I'll take Reddick, and then I'm going to take Bell over Truex.
Ooh.
Say that one more time for me.
I'm doing the same thing. Not to be a loser here, but that's
loser
the thing that I was going to take as well.
You said Chastain, Reddick, and Bell?
Yep.
Okay. Mark, anything different from you?
Yeah, for the sake of not coming in last place, give me Bubba, Truex, and Chase Elliott and really my plan for DK, Matt, this game we play here was like when I did my prep last night that I talked about it earlier, minus 150 plus 115 was the closest matchup they had offered. Yeah. Now they've clearly dropped a few more. However, my plan was to just take all the underdogs. I figured most people would take all the favorites. So now that they're both on the other 3, and I'm sorry that I'm not giving you any intellectual numbers here to back it up, but sometimes you just got to take the opposite. All right. So yeah, Bubba, Truex, and Chase Elliott. Although if I was going to put real money down, Ross Chastain over Elliott. That's a fact.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what we should have done from the start, instead of just have a record, we should have done it like every bet is 1 unit. And so whatever the 1 unit bet would pay out. Yeah. And then that keeps our score of units won on the 3 matchups. Then you might be tempted to take those.
Derek dropped the ball once again. No. Yeah. I think you're definitely on something. Hopefully next season we can incorporate units into this as well. For the sake of argument, I'll go with Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, and Christopher Bell. I'll go a little bit different from you guys. Let's see, dude. No questions, I don't think, in the chat.
Greg did say, though, if you want a betting preview show meetup, everyone should go to Bristol in September because we'll be there. Okay. I think, Mark, you said you're coming up. So
I'll be there.
Okay.
The whole Win the Race team will be there. I know some of our members will be there. Hopefully you guys can come. We got a couple houses. Should be fun.
Hell yeah. We appreciate Win the Race. As always, putting stuff together and making sure people are coming together. Brian, he's taking Bubba now, then Reddick post-qualifying, 23 over 45 in qualifying. Yeah, I think if you want to get on Bubba in this matchup, I think now's probably the time. I mean, what, has it been back-to-back weeks now? Bubba's been the runner-up in qualifying, right, to Larson? Am I right on that?
I don't know if it's second, but I know it's both been top 5.
Yeah, he's been scary quick off the truck here this season. Guys, I want to round out the show by giving you each a chance to let us know how we can best support you. Phil, what do you have going on this week? Is the podcast already out? I imagine you and Derek are going to do a truck show later in the week as well.
Yeah, podcast is out. Full Tank with Phil's name of the podcast. And yeah, the plan is we're trying to put something together for the truck pod. Sensitive to the fact that Derek has other stuff going on right now, so we're gonna work through and see what we can put out there. But give us a follow there, the NASCAR Betting Preview Show Truck Pod, and we'll see what we can do. But yeah, appreciate it. Everyone have a good week at Texas. Hopefully it's as good as we're kind of hyping it up to be, and we'll come back next week for Dega. I might be on. I'm not sure if I'm going to be on next week. I'm in Scottsdale next week for a golf trip. And when you guys are here, you're 3 hours ahead. So I'll probably be like just arriving at the Airbnb. So maybe I'll give you like a tour or whatever, if I can get that to happen. So, if I'm not on, good luck at Dega too, but I'll do my best.
Hell yeah. We appreciate your commitment to the show. As always, Phil, make sure you guys are checking out the Full Tank with Phil podcast, one of the longest running NASCAR gambling podcasts in the industry. Mark, what do you have going on this week, man? What's up with you and Rory over at Lay and Coin and everything Skybox NASCAR can give us this week?
Yeah, damn right. We're recording right after this. So if my internet decides not to be a piece of garbage, for lack of a better term, then it'll be out like maybe around midnight tonight. I don't know. Maybe it'll be out tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow afternoon. We'll see. But yeah, we're recording tonight, and we got Zach back this week. And Seth, round of applause. Good job, substitute. That was a good substitute teacher. Most of the time substitutes let us dick around, do whatever the fuck we want, but you kept us in line tonight, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you as always being on the program, Mark. Make sure you guys are checking out him and Rory picks on Lay and Coin. If you guys want to laugh, like, I'm not gonna lie, every time, like, I'm just feeling a little bit down, like, I need to go check out what Mark and Rory are getting into this week, and goddamn do I laugh on your guys' program a lot, so I appreciate that. And Ryan, win the race. You guys are plugging away, man. I saw Greg last week on with Eric Estep. You guys are just continuing to move throughout the industry, making power moves up there, man. What do you guys have going on this week? How can everyone best support Win the Race and your entire team over there?
Yeah, you can wintherace.info is the website. Whether you're playing DFS or betting or just, like the stats, come check it out. The Discord's fun. Just a great group of people. They're all nice, respectful, all there for the same reason. And then I'll be on with Estep tomorrow, talking some Texas too, so everyone can check that out on Eric Estep's channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, it's been fun. Wintherace.info. Check it out. Always available on Twitter too if you ever want to DM or whatever. Hit me up.
Awesome. The easiest way to support Derek, who couldn't be on the show tonight, follow him on X at Derek Yoder _. We appreciate everything he does here in Between Media, everything he does for the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. I imagine he's probably going to have a post-practice and qualifying show dropping sometime on Saturday night, Sunday morning. That is a must listen. That's something, honestly, when I get in the shower Sunday morning, that's what I turn on. I turn it on. I'm getting ready for the day with Derek and seeing what he has to say about the Cups here. So appreciate everything Derek does. And easiest way to support me here is just subscribe to the channel, man. If you guys enjoy this type of content, we have NASCAR content coming at you weekly. PGA, like we go all the way through the swing season with the PGA. The Masters is this week. It really is our Super Bowl here. But you got to make sure you listen to the 19th hole as well. They're killing it all season long. They just hit a 55-1 outright last week on Batia. So make sure you're checking in with Connor and Bo there. And we also have the Fantasy Football Podcast still going strong as well. If anyone wants to be a degenerate and do some best balls and some dynasty rookie drafts with us this time of year. All in all, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure sitting in for Derek. We'll see you next week here on the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. Good luck this week in Texas, and go for it all, man. Go for it all, and hammer the fuck out of Brad Keselowski. We'll see you next time, folks. Take care. Thank you.